Welcome to Fenway Park as the Red Sox wrap up their homestand today with Game 4 of the 4-game series between the White Sox and the Red Sox. Welcome inside the broadcast with everybody. I'm Don Orsillo, joined by Steve Lyons. Welcome to Red Sox baseball. A great victory here last night for the Red Sox, and the Red Sox last night using a lot of their youth to get it done.
Yeah, youth is exciting, isn't it? And these guys came in here. They're going to give this team a little bit of a shot in the arm, get things going, and you hope that you can have more victories like they did last night with all the young guys contributing, and it was fun to watch. There's JBJ. We know he can catch the ball. That might be his greatest grab of the season so far. And then a funny ricochet, but they get the ball back in, and a great relay by Bogarts. And then Mookie Betts doing what he does best, use those legs, and then be aware of what's going on around you. Watch how he leaves everybody in the dust. They can't catch up with him. On into second base, and then Brock Holt. Man, you just don't think of him as a young guy anymore with the big base hit to win it. I think it's important to talk about those young guys and the contributions they're making, but don't forget the grizzled vets in that game as well. Big double from Ortiz, Pedroia, and Gomes also contributed. Everyone has to do something in order to win big games.
It was a lot of fun last night, trying to keep it going today. The Red Sox have their all-star on the mound today. John Lester will take the hill. The ace trying to win this game today against the White Sox. 9-7 with a 2.73 earned run average. His 19th start is coming up next. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines, your Nissan dealers of New England, Dunkin' Donuts, your Subaru dealers of New England, Vermont Cows, making the best dairy. Learn more at vermontdairy.com. And by Toyota's website for deals, buyatoyota.com. Welcome back to Fenway Park as we get ready for Game 4 of the series. But before we get it started, let's send it down to Gary Streisky.
Guys, Jackie Bradley Jr. plays center field with a tan and black leather Rawlings glove. But lately, the way he's been playing it, that glove might soon turn into gold. Yes, I'm talking about a gold glove conversation around Jackie Bradley, because the way he's been playing, he deserves to be in that conversation, as John Farrell explains in our Geico quote of the day.
The thing that you marvel at when you watch him every day is that while he might not be a blazing speed type of player, his reads and routes to the spot are so precise It's what allows him to cover so much ground. I mean, he's a heck of a center fielder.
So the defense we know is on point day in and day out. John Farrell went on to explain, though, that when it comes to that Gold Glove voting, they're a little bit biased. If that bat starts coming around for JBJ, he should be a lock.
All right, Gary, thanks very much. He's been fun to watch, no doubt about it, as we get ready to check out the White Sox starting lineup. As Adam Eaton is at the top of that order once again in center field with Gordon Beckham at second base batting second. Jose Abreu is at first. Diane Viciedo in left field in the cleanup spot with Alexei Ramirez at shortstop. Paul Konerko is the DH batting sixth with Moises Sierra in right field. Tyler Flowers doing the catching, and Leore Garcia is at third base batting ninth. Today's Red Sox starting pitcher is presented by your New England Audi dealers. Experience the all-new 2015 Audi A3 today. John Lester on the hill, making his 19th start of the year. He's 9-7 with a 2.73 earned run average. 122 strikeouts, 29 walks, and opponents hitting at 242 against the left-hander. And a victory against the White Sox back early in the season, April the 17th. And it was impressive. 8 innings, giving up just 1 run, did not walk anybody, and struck out 9. Let's take a look at the defense behind Lester. It's brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Brock Holt, Stephen Drew, Dustin Pedroia, Mike Napoli third to first. Left to right in the outfield, it's Johnny Gomes, Jackie Bradley Jr., and Mookie Betts, as David Ross does the catching as he normally does against John Lester. Red Sox defensively are 9th in the American League. And the umpiring crew, Marvin Hudson has a plate today with Corey Blazer at first base. The crew chief, Jim Joyce, is at second, and Doug Ennings, the umpire, at third. 81 degrees at Fenway Park. Very comfortable conditions with blue skies above. The breeze out to right at 8 miles per hour. The forecast partly cloudy for the remainder of this early evening, as we'll be moving into it as the game goes on.
Yeah, what a beautiful afternoon to play a baseball game. It's great weather, good fans here today. Park's starting to fill up nicely.
The Red Sox will be heading to Houston after the ball game and getting ready for the last 3 games of the unofficial first half of the season. Then the All-Star break begins on Monday. Lester's first pitch of the ball game is missing outside for ball 1. Adam Eaton leading it off, and center fielder for the White Sox. And it was a lot of fun last night for the Red Sox for a change to have a victory like they did last night, and hoping to carry it over to today. But as the old adage goes, you're only as good as the next starting day's pitcher you're going to see.
Well, the next starting pitcher today is a pretty good one.
John Lester on the hill. 9-7 coming in, looking for his 10th win before the break. And, of course, he'll be going to the All-Star game along with Koji Uehara. This one fouled straight back, and it's 1-2. The fans, you can test your Red Sox IQ right now. The MLB Preplay mobile app. Download for free and start predicting every at-bat of every Red Sox game all season. Today, Preplay predicts John Lester will go 7 1/3 innings, allowing 4 hits, giving up 2 earned runs, and striking out 6.
That should get him a win.
Slap foul off to the left, out of play. Well, you have seen the White Sox now for the last 3 days. Your thoughts on the White Sox, and can they overtake the Tigers in the AL Central?
No, they're not a very good team. I mean, you look at, I love Robin Ventura too. He doesn't have that much to work with really, but you wonder how long you can keep Adam Eaton and Gordon Beckham in his 1-2 slots. Eaton is 7 for his last 44.
Deep short and under the glove. It drew into left field, and a base hit there for Adam Eaton on cue.
Now 8 for 45. And Beckham follows him up here. 13 for his last 95. Eaton does a good job right here, though, just going with the pitch. That ball's away from him. You know, if you try to pull that pitch, you're just basically going to roll over it. So he lets it get deeper into the zone and shoots it into left field. Too far into that 6-hole for Drew to get it.
So lead runner on here for Chicago in the top of the first inning. Here's Gordon Beckham. You mentioned his struggles, and that average down to 240. 7 homers, 25 runs batted in to go along with the 240 average. 1 for his last 26, and stretch it out to 13 for his last 95, hitting at 137 over the last 25 games.
I think Red Sox fans have watched Xander Bogaerts and the struggles that he has been going through over the last 100 at-bats or so. Gordon Beckham's been doing the exact same thing.
Take the strike, and it evens at 1-1. Teams have played 6 games this year so far, and it's an even split 3-3. As they wrap up the 4-game series here today. This one fouled back below us, 1-2. Let's take a look at our Chevy key player to watch. And it's John Lester over the last 5 games. Numbers are fantastic. 3-0, 0.96 ERA. Opponent's hitting at just 193 against the Red Sox left-hander.
Little cat and mouse game over there at first base with Adam Eaton and Lester. Eaton trying to get him to maybe commit to a few more moves over there to first. Dancing around a little bit. The White Sox clearly brought Eaton here as a center fielder, leadoff guy who could run, but he hasn't run. He's stolen 8 bases on the season. He's gotten caught 6 times. It's a lousy percentage.
Swing and a miss, and Beckham strikes out. First K of the day for John Lester.
Just blowing away a guy there, right there with that cut fastball. Starts in the middle of the plate. When you go to swing at it, it's in on your hands. You know, how come I say that Eaton's not playing well and he gets a hit, and you say Beckham's not playing well and he strikes out?
How about that? It's in line.
You're good.
Yeah, I'll get one soon enough. Trust me.
I'll be waiting.
1 out, 1 on. Jose Abreu. Well, it's been fun to watch him in this series and get to see what everybody else has seen from him so far this year. This guy is the real deal and very impressive.
You know, I went through that clubhouse for the White Sox today asking guys who he reminds them of. I mean, you're talking about a team that had Frank Thomas. They had Bo Jackson. There's some guys that you think maybe could compare to this guy, and they're like, he's kind of his own guy. He's just a massive human with unreal power.
Well, it's time now, in line with that, for a twist of the truth back to the game. Jose Abreu's 28 home runs prior to the All-Star game is the second most ever for a rookie. Mark McGwire hit 33 before the break in 1987. Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea is the refreshing hard iced tea. Tastes like real iced tea. Be a little twisted.
I think McGwire went on to have 49 that year, I believe, and maybe Abreu will sniff that record.
He's got 28 home runs, 70 runs batted in. The average at 284. Look at the home run leaders. Tied with Nelson Cruz, who's had a very good year for the Orioles, and all-star bound as well. Encarnacion currently on the DL for the Toronto Blue Jays. Abreu with a home run in last night's game. So coming off Ruby De La Rosa, and 1 of 2 given up by De La Rosa in his outing. Both went to center.
Yeah, he hit a changeup to dead central. That's a long way to hit a ball. And it didn't look that tough for him to do it.
Numbers in the series for him. A couple of doubles and a home run. Check swing. Did he go? No. As they check with Corey Blazer, first base umpire.
Obviously, guys talk about having good pop in their bat. There's the check swing. He clearly checked that swing. So strong he can hold his bat back too. But some guys have pop, some guys don't. When guys talk about him, they say he's got stupid pop in his bat. It's just ridiculous.
Fouled off. And Eaton will have to come on back as he was off with the pitch. 1 out in the inning and a full count here to Abreu.
Adam Dunn, the other guy on this ball club, not in the lineup today, facing Lester, who has just massive power as well.
David Ross getting part of this foul tip off the top of the glove in his fingers.
Toughest guys on the field right there.
I was going to say, you can have that job.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just...
They don't call it the tools of ignorance for no reason. I mean, that's what people don't consider. He just took that foul tip off his fingers. He's going to get 4 at-bats today. He's going to take a foul ball off his collarbone later on. It just, on a nightly basis, those guys get hammered, and then they have to go and hit.
Abreu drives this on a line. Back goes Gomes. It's over his head. Quickly off the wall as Eaton is headed for third and beyond. They're going to send him. The throw is cut off and the run is in, and it is a bullet line drive double, RBI double for Jose Abreu, and the White Sox jump on top 1-0.
Well, there's a lot of bad things going on that play right there. A really poor jump by Johnny Gomes. This ball's hit right at him. It's tough to judge, but you can see him in your camera there. Doesn't move in time. And then once he gets back there, now the ball bounces back over his head. That enables Eaton to be able to come all the way around to score. That's not the type of ball that anyone should score on. But because it's banging around out there, Gomes got a little bit lost. He didn't know what to do. Once that ball got over his head, he should have understood that he wasn't going to catch it, should have backed off and played the carom and made sure that Adam Eaton stayed on third base.
As it stands now, run in, a runner at second, and Diane Viciedo, the batter, jumping on the first pitch and fouling it off to the right.
Now, you could take it a step further and say that play right there really should have been a wall ball single. And you should have a guy on first and third right now.
Is that the hardest ball to judge, one that is hit at you?
Right at you, because you have a little bit, it takes you a split second longer to judge the depth perception on the ball because there's not that much behind it to see. You don't have an angle on it.
Swing and a miss here for Viciedo, who's down 0-2.
Gomes has struggled defensively lately. He generally plays a pretty good left field here at Fenway Park. Lost some balls in the dusk. He took a ball off his noggin yesterday.
Lester charged with a run here so far in the first inning. 1 out, and numbers for Viciedo pretty good numbers against John Lester. Strike 3 call. Second strikeout for Lester. Viciedo down by way of the K.
Let's watch location. You see where Rossi's set up. They just want it right on the outside corner. He paints it right there. That's picture perfect.
The K men and women and children up there adding the second K. 2 down in the inning, and Alexei Ramirez, the batter, he is all-star bound as well. 279 average, 8 homers, 41 runs batted in. First White Sox shortstop to be going to an all-star game since Ozzie Guillen.
Back in 1991 was Guillen, wasn't he?
Yes. Ramirez has struggled at the plate, 1 for his last 19 in the last 5 games. First week of July surpassed his 1,000th game mark in the major leagues.
Oh, no big surprise that he swung at the first pitch.
Very aggressive. He'll swing at the second pitch and bloop it out there, and Drew will run it down. Able to make the catch over the shoulder, and a nice running catch by Stephen Drew. White Sox get a run, take a 1-0 lead. The Sox are coming up. Nice grab by Drew. Out here in the bottom of the first, and on the mound today for the White Sox, brought to you by your New England Nissan dealers. Jose Quintana, his 19th appearance of the year, 5-7, 3.20 earned run average, 100 strikeouts on the season, 32 walks, and opponents hitting at 249. His last time out, a no decision against the Mariners last Saturday, going 7 2/3, pitched great, didn't allow a run, struck out 10 and walked 1. Quintana ready to deal with Brock Holt to begin things here in the bottom of the first. Last night's Red Sox hero, and there were a few last night, but Holt had the walk-off base hit to give the Red Sox the victory. 311 average, 2 homers, and 19 runs batted in. Goes the other way, but right to Viciedo, who's out there in left field for the first out. Let's take a look at the Red Sox starting 9 today. Just saw Brock Holt, he's starting at third base today with Dustin Pedroia at second base. David Ortiz, the DH, with Mike Napoli at first. Johnny Gomes in left field. Mookie Betts in right field with Stephen Drew. Already made his presence felt defensively with a nice running catch. And David Ross does the catching with Jackie Bradley Jr. in center field. One down for Dustin Pedroia. Takes strike 1. 282 average for Pedroia, 4 homers and 34 runs batted in. I heard Gary talking about Jackie Bradley Jr. earlier and his possibilities for a Gold Glove. And it's funny because John Farrell was talking about it today as part of his pregame press conference, that sometimes offense is part of that award, which seems kind of strange in that you think of a Gold Glove as strictly being a defensive award. If that's the case, Jackie Bradley Jr. should be mentioned, but he said go back and take a look. A lot of those guys have had good offensive years too, and it may cost him in that regard. Yeah, almost always it's an offensive award. JBJ's played as good a center field as anybody in the league. We've seen it on a daily basis, but it's whether or not you hit. It's so strange, you know. Gold Gloves sponsored by Rawlings. They make gloves. All about defense as strikes out, not to throw him out, and they do as Pedroia's strikeout victim number 1. This is the catch of last night. Could be the catch of the year. It was outstanding. Yeah, this was a great one. He ran so far to get it, and then watch his dive. It's not a dive where you could kind of dive towards the ground. He still wasn't to the ball yet, so he had to dive out, almost up, to get the ball and then come down with it on the ground. It was just fantastic play. John Farrell was also talking about his straight up speed and that he gets such great jumps, but it's not all about the speed. It's the way he is kind of leaning in that direction and the start that he gets. Yeah, center field's a lot about anticipation and kind of, as he goes through the league, he'll learn the hitters better, what their tendencies are. I know they have spray charts on guys. He knows where people are supposed to be kind of hitting the ball, and you start to anticipate that. Now, my dad used to tell me you got to be going at the crack of the bat. That's if you're not moving by then, you're not catching anything. And do you have the best opportunity as a center fielder to be able to do that, or no? Does it not matter? Yeah, I think usually, it was the easiest position for me to play, and because of what we talked about before. The only ball that really gives you a struggle is a flat-out line drive straight up the middle. Everything else, you have a little bit better angle on seeing the ball off the bat than anybody else. David Ortiz batting here with 2 outs, bases empty in the Boston first inning. He's 2 for 4 here last night with a double and an RBI. Pops it up foul, out of play. Have you ever dreamed of being part of the pregame ceremony at Fenway Park? Well, this is your chance. Bring a group of 100 or more to a Sox game, and you'll be honored on the field during our Leader of the Pack ceremony. Go to redsox.com/groups for more details. You got to call a lot of friends. 100 in the air to center field. Starting back was Eaton. Now he comes in. Has plenty of time to recover and make the catch. That ends the inning. 1-0. The White Sox have lead over the Red Sox. We'll check in on the Cy Young poll when we come back. come to bat in the second inning. Konerko, Sierra, and Flowers to bat here in the inning, and not a lot of playing time for Paul Konerko this year. But a start today in this day game after the night game, and he's in the DH spot with Adam Dunn on the bench to begin the game.
Kind of the swan song for Konerko this year. Been at it for a long time. Originally the #1 draft pick of the Los Angeles Dodgers way back in '94.
439 home runs later. White Sox uniform on. He was born in New England, Providence, Rhode Island.
Grew up in the Scottsdale, Arizona area. Funny little note, I know his parents actually put up mirrors in their living room so he could practice his swing while he was watching games.
So he's getting ready at a pretty young age then.
Yeah, they knew they were raising a big leaguer.
Would go on to play in over 2,300 games in the majors. Look at his numbers. Again, the 439. You combine him with Adam Dunn's 453. And they're the only active teammates with 400+ home runs. And a swing and a miss. Konerko strikes out for the first out of the second as we check back in with Gary.
Guys, the new Scion TC with today's poll question. Which is the best defensive play by JBJ this homestand? Sox won this throw right here. Guns out, Manny Machado at the plate. Sox 2, the circus catch at the wall on Sunday. Or just last night, Sox 3, the diving catch to rob extra bases. Text your answer to 536-536. Message and data rates, those may apply. Text help if you need it. Visit NESN.com/terms for all the legal stuff. Guys, the fact that all 3 of those happened in the last 10 days, that's remarkable.
It really is, and he has been so much fun to watch this year, and getting it done out there in center field as he tries to carry it over to the offensive part of his game, and that has been improved lately as well from Jackie Bradley Jr. Moises Sierra batting and getting his first start of the series. We've seen him come in defensively a few times in the series, but getting the start today.
It's funny when you talk about Jackie as a center fielder. I mean, I was a utility player. I played everywhere, but I played center field mostly. And so I can watch guys play and tell you what I think. And he's good, really, really good out there. The thing I like most about him, outside of that he gets great jumps, is the fact, you know, we always saw Jim Edmonds make great plays out there. Well, Jimmy was a very good center fielder, but he didn't have the kind of speed that JBJ does. And Jimmy used to make a lot of great diving plays because he was a step slower.
On the ground up the middle and into center field, a base hit for Sierra. So the average of just 202.
Guys, at this point, we know how much pride JBJ takes in that center field position. I talked to him during batting practice because he was the #2 play on ESPN's top plays, and I struck a nerve with JBJ. He was a little salty that he wasn't #1. A guy that he crossed paths with at the younger levels, George Springer, Houston center fielder. He took the #1 place, so he told me once he gets down to Houston, him and George, they're going to have some words.
I have not seen that play, but it's hard to imagine there'd be one better than what we saw last night. But apparently there was.
And to finish off my point, we saw a play, I'm sure many, many people saw it on the national highlights, where Yasiel Puig had a great diving play and then threw the ball into third base on a relay and doubled up a guy, but he completely messed up the play at first. He came running way in on the play, then had to run way back and dive for the ball, then got up, and he has a tremendous arm, but it was not a good defensive outfield play. It was a mistake that he made up for. JBJ doesn't make many mistakes out there.
Runner goes as the pitch is low and inside. The throw is good, but not in time. The ball may have gotten there first, but Sierra's able to steal it sliding to the outfield side.
Yeah, I think the ball maybe did beat him, but I think Petey had to catch it on the right-hand side of second base and then swipe back to make the tag. See the ball on that side of the base, he's got to sweep it back in there, and that's hard to do real quickly.
Into scoring position with one down for stolen base since September of last year, and the third of his career. Swinging a foul tip into the catcher's mitt for strike 2. There's another guy struggling at the plate for the White Sox. Last 7 games, 1 for his last 21. At 0.48, stretch it out further. Last 32 games, hitting at 0.96.
Some bad numbers we're seeing with these guys in the gray uniforms.
Rolls it over foul. We'll do it again, 1-2. Well, tomorrow on NESN Live, El Duncan and Sarah Davis will have all the latest news and notes from around the world of sports and a report from day 3 of Bruins development camp. All that and more on NESN Live, presented by Cross Insurance, tomorrow at 5:30. Robin Ventura last night pulling Chris Sale from the game. It was an out away from getting through that 8th inning and preserving at the time what was a 4-0 advantage, and that move proved to be costly for the White Sox manager.
I talked to Robin a long time about that, and he told me, look, he was already at 107 pitches. He said, if I let him stay in to face Petey, then I have to let him stay in to face Ortiz, right? Because now you got lefty on lefty. That's what. But he said, you know, when you start getting the 4th time through the order on guys, that's when you run into trouble. He had done his job. I'm supposed to set that out to my bullpen and let them finish it off.
Swing and a miss, and Lester picks up his 4th strikeout, 2 down.
This pitch is unhittable when John Lester's on. The cutter down and in, back leg. It looks like a fastball down the middle until you swing at it. And you know, the other point that Ventura made was, you'll remember back when the Red Sox were in Chicago playing, Sale went 129 pitches against the Sox, went on the DL the next day. He wants to stay away from that kind of a situation with Chris Sale.
2 down here in the inning. Leori Garcia on the ground, left side. Holt to his left, steps in front of the runner and fires to first for the out that ends the inning. It's 1-0 Chicago through an inning and a half. Sox, we head to the last half of the 2nd inning. Mike Napoli, Johnny Gomes, and Mookie Betts here in the inning for the Red Sox, trailing by a run. They went in order in the first against Quintana. Napoli will take strike 1. Mike was 0 for 3 in the game last night with a walk, 3 for 9 so far in the series.
The White Sox love this guy on the hill, especially lately. They really love his poise for a younger pitcher. Nothing really rattles him out there. His fastball in the low to mid 90s. Good cutter. Throw an occasional curveball up there. His last 4 games, his ERA is under 1.
16 2/3 consecutive scoreless innings pitch now. It's from Columbia. Signed as a free agent with the White Sox November of 2011.
Say what town he's from in Colombia. Barranquilla. A lot of minor league players play winter ball. Colombia used to be one of the stops. Well, that was a long time ago when I was there. That's where I played. In 1982. It's not a fun experience, but a necessary one if you want to get better. Now, when you start playing winter ball and you can go to the Dominican Republic or you go to Puerto Rico, and Venezuela is kind of a step up, certainly from Colombia as well.
Did you play in all of those places in winter ball?
I did not make it to the DR. Hit everything else.
Favorite spot was?
I had a lot of fun in Venezuela. Played well. You know, it's a life's experience. It's new cultures, don't know the language, but you're down there for a reason to try to get better, and it's something you look back on now, and I'm so happy I did it. It wasn't easy, and it wasn't necessarily that much fun when we were doing it.
Napoli strikes out for the first out of the inning as he goes looking. Quintana's retired the first 4. Much different was the baseball experience, like the fans' experience in those games in winter ball?
It's their big leagues.
Yeah.
It is your first taste as a kid to play Major League Baseball, really. They're passionate. They care about it. We all know that. And it is their season.
One down for Johnny Gomes, who takes strike 1. Quintana last year led the White Sox in starts with 33, finished the year 9-7. This is now his 3rd year in the majors, and all spent with the White Sox. Still 25 years of age.
Yeah, he's a good one.
To right center field on the run is Eaton. Coming from right is Sierra, and it's Sierra who steps in front. Handles out number 2. Well, to celebrate the 2013 World Champion Red Sox, Hood Red Sox ice cream is now a winner too. Pick up Hood Champions ice cream in all of your favorite flavors today.
And I think a lot of Red Sox fans will remember in the mid 80s the shortstop Jackie Gutierrez was from Colombia.
So was Orlando Cabrera.
Yeah.
He played here as part of the 2004 World Champion Boston Red Sox. Pitch in there for a strike.
Gutierrez was one of the more splendid athletes I ever saw in my life. And some just God-given talent that you can't. He could stand at center field and throw a ball over the center field wall.
Impressions of Mookie Betts so far?
I think he's going to be good. You know, he's the same kind of a thing. I think he's got, you know, talents that you can't teach. Speed is certainly one of them. I mean, when you look at some of the kids that are playing for the Red Sox today and they're 21 years old, think about that. Most 21-year-olds are playing Double-A somewhere, but they're here because of their talent level and because of the need of the club.
And he strikes out looking. That's 3 Ks for Quintana, who's retired all 6 Red Sox. He has faced 1-0 Chicago. The White Sox have the lead over the Red Sox. We head to the third inning. There's not construction going on here at Fenway Park. It is actually behind Fenway Park and across the street.
Cool shot.
Yeah, that was kind of neat. But it has the illusion of being inside here, and it's not. It's to left field, and back goes Gomes. This time he reels it in. Wow. Had to reach across his body to pull that in, and that almost got away.
Johnny kind of drifting on this ball back. There's been some balls hit maybe a little harder than Johnny's judging them originally, but he adjusts here and is able to make this play. That natural tail on that ball from a left-handed hitter. Ball's going to go towards the seats and away from the left fielder.
Here's the construction going on behind the park. One down in the third inning. Gordon Beckham takes strike one. Beckham struck out swinging in the first inning, 0 for 1. 4 strikeouts through the first 2 innings for John Lester.
There's about 3 big, huge buildings going up around Fenway. I'm sure at least one of them will be residential. I'm sure they're going to offer you a good deal to move right in.
Well, I'll tell you what, commute-wise, that would be outstanding.
Yeah.
That would be really good. Swing and a miss on a pitch down and in.
Boy, he's got that figured out.
When he's got his cutter going on, he is very difficult to deal with.
As a right-handed hitter, you have to go to look up there and pull. You have to try to pull the ball down the left field line against him. And then the equalizer for Lester is if he goes backdoor with his little breaking ball, or if he throws you a 4-seam fastball away. Now you're out in front, you're rolling over. But if you think you're going to get to that cutter that he throws on your back leg, you got to cheat and try to hit it through Brock Holt at third.
The Liverpool Football Club returns to Boston to face AS Roma on Wednesday, July 23rd for Buick football at Fenway. Match will feature 2 of the most prominent clubs in European football, setting the stage for an exciting rematch at Fenway Park. Tickets are on sale now. Visit redsox.com/football at Fenway to get your tickets today. Another strikeout victim for John Lester, and the second time Gordon Beckham is down by way of the K.
Well, there's a strikeout there. We're going to show you the 3 that he had before this, all on different pitches. Look at this. Fastball. That's what we talked about, the 4-seamer on the outside. You can't hit it. How about a curveball backdoor? Have fun with that one, too. And then the pitch he's known for, that cut fastball in on the hands. And there's Beckham right there on a big curveball.
Make Insurance, great service, great coverage, and a great price for auto, home, or life insurance. Pitch is zipped in by Lester, missing inside for ball 1. Red Sox into a shift on the left side on Abreu now. Full shift on the left side of the infield.
You don't see that very often with a right-handed hitter coming up. You don't see many shifts for righties.
Mike Napoli gets it on occasion, but not by everybody. Why is that, do you think?
Why most people
less shifts against righties than there are left-handers?
You know, I think, well, the shift in general is kind of a new phenomenon of, you know, people will say, well, they used to do it against Ted Williams, but, you know, not like they do it now. So many guys are shifting. But I just think that, you know, the right side of the field's a little harder to cover. You know, you look where Napoli is now. He's like on an island, but he has to be at first base.
Abreu strikes out, back-to-back Ks for Lester. He's got 6 in all, but Chicago on top. Bottom of the third inning back at Fenway Park. White Sox on top 1-0. Boston has not been able to do anything with Jose Quintana so far as Stephen Drew leads it off and takes strike one. Quintana has retired the first 6 Red Sox he has faced, 3 by way of the K. Drew at 131 coming into the game today. Drew didn't like it at all, and he is down 0-2.
Big curveball right out of there by Quintana. He doesn't throw many of those.
Swing and a miss. Then he goes up and away with a 93-mile-an-hour fastball, and Drew with a tough at bat.
He has a tough delivery because he's so slow and smooth, and the ball explodes out of his hands. 93 up and away. Good luck catching up with it.
Mentioned off the top, he has been terrific, especially lately. Last 4 starts, 2-0 with a 0.94 earned run average. 51 starts since 2013. He's tied with Mark Burley and John Lester for the second most among American League lefties, only behind C.J. Wilson, who's made 51 starts during that time. David Ross with his first at bat of the day takes strike one.
I think you're going to see similarities out of both of these pitchers as the way they work both sides of the plate. They're in, they're out. They cut the ball in. They'll throw backdoor breaking balls. They both have the ability to go 4-seam and run it into the low to mid 90s. Too many weapons.
Really impressed with what we saw last night from Chris Sale. He was pretty good for the White Sox.
I mean, the reason why he's so hard to hit is because not only is he throwing the baseball at you, but you see a bunch of knees and elbows and, you know,
Stuff.
lots of stuff coming at you.
Not a lot to him. I mean, he's 6'6", but listed at 180 pounds. May look less than that if possible.
I think you have to tie a knot in his leg just to make a knee. That's the scary thing about Sale, is he's going to fill out, get stronger and better.
Don Cooper, very good pitching coach here for a lot of years with the White Sox. Been in the organization 27 years, not all at the major league level, but was with Ozzie Guillen when Ozzie was here. They stayed with Ventura. This is popped up. Out goes Gordon Beckham with the sunglasses on to make the catch. 2 down. Now, if you want to get your video on the broadcast today, text keyword on TV to 536-536 and get the link NESN.com/on TV to get started. A lot of good videos coming in, and hope to see yours today.
Some early Wally waving.
2 down here in the third for Jackie Bradley Jr. He'll take strike one. Bradley 6 for 17 on the homestand. He'd go 0 for 4 here last night in the third game of the series. Snapped a 5-game hitting streak for him.
Yeah, watch this guy. He misses it. Guy behind him makes an easy play.
Right place, right time.
And I don't know, that guy's got a kind of a greenish shirt on, I guess. He felt so bad about missing it, he went and gave the other guy a high five. And his girlfriend doesn't even want to sit next to him anymore. He's smiling through the tears.
He's explaining how he didn't catch it.
Yeah, exactly. It's a short story.
To left field, it's going to come back to Viciedo, who makes the catch, and another easy inning for Quintana. He has retired the first 9 Red Sox in a row. You mentioned the Wally wave. 1-0 Chicago on top of Boston. We're into the top of the 4th inning, and Diane Viciedo takes strike 1. John Lester now 50 pitches deep into his outing. He's retired the last 5 White Sox in a row. Viciedo struck out looking in the 1st inning, and Lester has 2 Ks in each of the first 3 innings, so 6 altogether as he begins his 4th inning. Late afternoon baseball from Fenway Park as the Red Sox will be heading out to Houston after the ball game for a 3-game series. Red Sox will be headed to Cleveland to continue their road trip. This one popped up foul back above us and out of play. Swing and a miss, off balance swing at that. 3 strikeouts in a row for Lester, 7 in all, and the second time he's got Viciedo. From technologies that make your life easier to people who care about your community, Eastern Bank is committed to putting you first. Learn all the ways Eastern puts you first at easternbank.com.
Now Viciedo is an outstanding hitter. 11 home runs on the year, 34 RBIs, and he just looked silly. John Lester made him take 3 defensive swings.
Alexei Ramirez getting his second look at the lefty as Ramirez popped out to Stephen Drew at shortstop. Alexei Ramirez, 32 years of age. Also from Cuba, now resides in Miami during the offseason. On the ground down the line, off the bag. A fair ball that keeps on going down the line. Combs going to have to chase it back into the corner as Ramirez gets to second base standing with a 1-out double.
I think Brock Holt would catch this ball. I don't know if he'd have been able to make a play on it, but it hit the third base bag instead. Now watch what Ramirez is doing, is what we talked about. Cheating and getting out in front of that thing and yanking it down the left field line. It's the only way you can hit John Lester if he's going down and in on you.
Ramirez standing at second base breaks up a string of 6 in a row retired by Lester. And here is Paul Konerko, who's a strikeout victim in the second inning.
All of the years that Konerko has played, he's a .313 hitter here at Fenway for his entire career. He's a pretty good golfer too. Had a hole-in-one in a tournament and won a trip to Ireland.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, I think he'll play in this tournament.
This is only his 28th start of the year. This is their 93rd game of the year. Seems so strange. So used to seeing him down there at first base every day, but not at this stage of his career. He has only been at first base 9 times. Most of his starts have come as a DH.
Yep. Just fading into the sunset here.
And there's largely the reason he has not been at first base. Abreu's been there every day. It's on the ground to Drew at short. Looks the runner back. 2 down in the inning. Ace Ticket, the official Red Sox ticket partner, has the best seats at the lowest prices to all the games at Fenway. All the 200% guarantee. Right now, Ace Ticket has special savings on all Red Sox games. Visit Ace Ticket or call 1-800-MY-SEATS. 2 down here in the 4th inning. Alexei Ramirez at second base and Moises Sierra coming up. Sierra singled and stole a base back in the second inning.
Now we know Stephen Drew has had trouble offensively since his return, but his defense is flawless. This is picture perfect for any kid that's out there. Get down on the ball, catch it, get your crow hop, look the guy back, and make a throw over to first base that hits your first baseman right in the chest. And his defense has been outstanding, and I think a lot of Sox fans certainly expected that. I think they also expected that he might be hitting a little bit better, and that hasn't come yet.
How much do you think a product of that is because he didn't have any spring training at all, and this is sort of his spring training? I mean, you're getting past that point now, but
yeah, I think it has a lot to do with that. I mean, you're talking about a guy who, didn't do anything for a long time. 84 at bats. If you had an 84 at bat spurt during the season where you were going to get 500 at bats, you could overcome it with everything else. But I would say that if you asked him, he would be surprised at the slow start.
How many at bats generally does a position player get during spring training?
50, 60. So those, I think what they've been doing with Steven too is really working on him driving the ball the other way. And he's been a little pull happy, getting out in front of a lot of pitches. He's not a big guy. He's going to hit you some home runs. He hit a couple home runs the other night. And sometimes for a guy who's not a home run hitter, that's the worst thing you can do is hit a couple home runs, because then you start thinking you can hit more. And his game should be right back up the middle and hitting line drives over the shortstop's head and driving the ball the other way and getting on base and trying to be productive for the other guys in the lineup behind him. And I think he understands that, but you get into some bad habits. And he has had to try to get into his habits offensively very quickly.
In the lineup today against a tough lefty in Quintana today as well. But the Red Sox have had to deal with 3 lefties in a row. And a swing and a miss for Sierra here, and a full count now.
Look at all the hitters up there after they take a swing at a Lester pitch. Cutter down and in, and they just shake their head. They're like, look at him thinking, I can't hit that pitch.
Two down, Alexei Ramirez at second base, and a full count to Sierra. And a swing and a miss. Lester strikes him out. 8 strikeouts for John Lester through 4. White Sox lead at 1-0. Eastern Bank knows small business keeps our economy and community strong. That's why they've been named the #1 SBA lender in Massachusetts 5 years in a row. Eastern Bank, here, you're first. 1-0. White Sox have the lead over the Red Sox. We head to the bottom of the 4th inning. White Sox getting that run in the 1st inning on an RBI double by Jose Abreu. Top of the Red Sox. What a Brock Holt leading it off. Dustin Pedroia, then David Ortiz. Quintana has retired the first 9 Red Sox today. Swing and a miss, and late on a 92-mile-an-hour fastball that was a favorite movie for Brock Holt, Lone Survivor. Breaking Bad and New Girl, his favorite shows.
It's a contrast.
It's a good steak. Next, Denzel Washington, Mark Wahlberg, and Matt Damon. So he's got a little bit of a Boston flair there.
Well, I don't think Matt Damon was one of his answers. I think someone just added that in there because everyone thinks he looks like him.
Kind of looks like him. Yeah, I guess if he has a movie about him someday.
Yeah.
If the legend continues for like another 10, 12 years and they do a movie on Brock, you'd have to think Matt Damon would be the first pick.
The legend of Brock Star for life.
Yes.
Well, in order to become a legend, you got to do it for a little while, and then, and then maybe Matt Damon might be too old to play the part. I know he's been sexiest man alive and all that stuff, but come on. In Holt's first at bat, where he lined out to left field, every hitter wants results in their at bats, but it's a good at bat for him because that's exactly what he's trying to do, is drive the ball in the left field. We've seen him do it time and time again. Lots of base hits into left and up the middle. Doesn't pull the ball that often. Likes to let that ball travel deeper into the strike zone and then drive it into left field. So when you do that, and every once in a while you hit it too hard and the left fielder catches it, you can't be too disappointed because you're doing exactly what you want to do.
So even though it's an offer, you feel better about it.
Yeah.
Better feeling
Just
going back
only
to
a
the
teeny
dugout.
bit better, though. You feel a lot better when the ball hits the grass out there.
Not going to feel good about this. Strikes out now on a fastball up, and it was at 93 miles an hour. 5th strikeout for Quintana.
This is the impressive thing about Quintana, is he has the good breaking stuff, and then he can run that fastball up the ladder at 93, and you can see how guys are just late getting there on it.
One down for Dustin Pedroia, striking out in the 1st inning in his first at bat. Shadows of the light stanchion off to the left have encompassed the mound. Late afternoon start here at Fenway Park. And a strike to Pedroia.
Has the word stanchion been used in any other sentence except for
a light?
The light stanchion.
I don't even know what it really means.
Not me either.
It holds the light up, I think.
Yeah, I hope it does.
Is it also a ladder? I don't know.
Someone's got to get up there to change the light bulbs.
That's what I'm thinking. It holds it, but it's also a ladder, I think. It's a stanchion, I think.
Maybe the ladder's inside the stanchion.
It could be. Ladder's inside the stanchion. You're right, though. I've never used stanchion in any other sentence.
Probably never will either. Wow, that is just a great shot, isn't it?
There's areas to walk up there, too.
Not by me.
1, 2, 4.
Won't be catching me up there.
4 levels.
Extra seating.
Walking. Yeah.
Well, you know someone has to go up there and change the light bulbs every once in a while. And God love that guy, because it's not going to be me.
1-2 pitch. To left. Viciedo is there, just shy of the track. He was positioned perfectly, and Pedroia's out number 2. Frustrated, but now 2 outs in the inning. Well, tonight, following post-game action, catch up with Dale Arnold and Andy Brickley on Bruins Summer Face-Off Live. Recap free agency, the draft, and the NHL awards, plus the latest on the start of the Bruins development camp. Catch all that and more tonight following our Red Sox final coverage. Yeah, no way am I getting up there on a stanchion. David Ortiz standing in with 2 down. Full shift on the right side against Big Poppy. Flied out to center field in the first inning. It's not happened often. Quintana has gotten down in the count, but he is here 2-0. 1 year ago today, David Ortiz passing a former White Sox Harold Baines in the ballpark today to become the all-time hit leader as a DH. Swing and a miss, 2-1.
I'll tell you what, when a lot of talk about when David retires and has the 5-year waiting period before the Hall of Fame. There's a good look at Harold Baines, one of my teammates when I was with the White Sox, just flat out one of the best hitters I ever saw. David will probably be the first DH elected into the Hall of Fame.
Drives it out to deep right center field towards the triangle, and Eaton will dive to make the catch. Unbelievable catch in center field by Adam Eaton. Sierra out there as well. Unbelievable as Ortiz can only stand and watch. Press.
Catches it. We've seen Jackie Bradley do that a lot, and that's what you have to do. If you don't do it that way, you never get to the ball in time.
Chopper to third. Brock Holt with the first out here in the 5th. Tyler Flowers retired. Oh, something. Adam Eaton out there in the triangle area, back by about, I guess, 418 feet, a few feet shy of the 420 marker. And from where he started, where he ended up, big difference out there.
Yeah, we talked about that with him. The reason why they brought him here is to play some outstanding defensive center field and steal some bases. We talked about him getting caught a lot stealing bases, but he can go get them in the outfield.
One down in the 5th inning. Leore Garcia grounded out to third base, shortens up, and takes strike one. Lester with 8 strikeouts.
That run that the Red Sox gave up in the first on kind of a misplay in left field by Johnny Gomes could really come back to hurt in this game, the way these pitchers have settled into this one. no fun to hit today.
And Quintana has been perfect through the first 4 innings, tiring all 12 Red Sox that he has faced today. 5 strikeouts. Well, earlier this year, back on May the 3rd, Lester struck out 15 Oakland A's. That's his season and career high. Here's another strikeout. He's got 9 today.
This is beautiful. Go to the other side of the plate. Right when you start thinking in, he goes away. And that is the big difference. And we've talked all season long about that with Jon Lester, is that he was always great to his glove side. Left-handers generally are. You can go down and in to the righties. But once you learn how to use the other side of the plate to your advantage, that's when you become a good pitcher.
Adam Eaton batting with 2 down, bases empty. He's got one of the 4 White Sox hits today as he singled to left field back in the first and scored the game's only run. Showing bunt, kind of running up there but pulling it back.
I would think if Eaton was going to bunt, he'd pull that with him down the first base line. The reason I say that is because lefties fall to the other side. They fall to the third base side after they pitch, and it's an easier bunt for them to handle. If you take it with you to the second base side, you can get it past the pitcher, and then you can pretty much walk into first.
Swings away and lines this into center field. Adam Eaton has his second hit of the day, 2 for 3. The Futures at Fenway presented by Mitsubishi Electric. Don't miss Futures at Fenway coming Sunday, July 13th for a great day of baseball action featuring Red Sox prospects and lots of family fun. Tickets are just $15, and after the game, join us for a special 25th anniversary showing of the iconic classic baseball movie Field of Dreams. Go to redsox.com/futures to get your tickets for this great family event today. 2 down, Adam Eaton at first base, and Gordon Beckham coming up to bat here, 0 for 2. Trying to jump on that first pitch. He fouls it off. Struck out twice, both times swinging. But he's not alone in that category. Lester has 9 strikeouts through 4 2/3 innings. Talked about it before, but amazing that he's been able to channel, kind of compartmentalize the swirling contract conversation going around everywhere else, but apparently not with him. He has somehow put it aside and has been able to focus and pitch really well.
Well, he's darn good at what he does, and I think at the end of the day he understands that he's going to be a very rich man no matter how it works out. And players, especially when you're the caliber of him, he's got his agents talking for him. He doesn't have to worry.
He's got 10 Ks through 5. It's 1-0 White Sox. 1-0. White Sox have a lead over the Red Sox. We head to the bottom of the 5th inning. I give up. What is that? A fireboat. What is it doing, though? There's no fire.
Practicing. You see the buoy it was spraying?
So it's practicing putting out a fire.
I guess it already did its job.
Nicely. So the fire's out.
It's out.
Like Napoli leading it off here in the 5th. The Red Sox have not had a base runner through the first 4 innings. Napoli struck out in the 2nd inning.
The Twitter world is abuzz, telling us both what a stanchion is.
Apparently it's more than just for lights.
I guess it can hold up a lot of stuff. An upright bar, post, or support. As for a roof or a ship's deck even. That's from the Webster Dictionary.
So I'm going to be mixing in stanchion with all kinds of stuff now.
Yeah, I could use a stanchion every once in a while.
Right.
Hold me up.
1-2 pitch. Bounce in for ball 2.
Someone actually tweeted in and said they are often not permanent. I don't think these are going anywhere.
No, I think they're in place.
Learn something new every day.
Strike 3 call. Napoli knew it. Takes with him the 6th strikeout for Quintana.
This is just impressive what we're seeing here. And then even when someone does hit the ball, someone goes and catches it. This is JBJ from the other day. Just tremendous. And then Adam Eaton today. It's no fair when you pitch that well and then when you smoke a ball somewhere and someone else is out there waiting to catch it.
On the list today, best defensive center fielders over the last 20 years. Carlos Beltran, Mike Cameron, Jim Edmonds, Torrey Hunter, Andrew Jones. I would have to put Ken Griffey Jr. perhaps on that list somewhere too.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's like every night there's room for 5 and there's always someone you leave off the list.
Well, the fans can share their opinion with us by using hashtag NESSonLists. Who have we left off? I didn't see Steve Lyons on that list.
Yeah.
In the air to left field off the bat of Gomes. Viciedo going back onto the track and he'll make the catch. It kind of died out there in left field. Looked like he may get up on the wall but doesn't have enough. 2 down. Well, this Saturday on Dining Playbook, Billy Costa and Jenny Johnson come to you from Granite Lakes in Quincy. Find out New England Revolution striker Charlie Davies' favorite 5 restaurants and head in the kitchen with midfielder Kellen Rowe. Catch all that and more Saturday morning at 9. Two down here in the 5th inning. Mookie Betts struck out looking in the 2nd. Jose Quintana has been perfect through 4 2/3 innings today.
And we're talking about some of the kids and the talent level that they have. When you look at Bradley and Betts and Bogarts, these guys are all so young that generally they wouldn't be here yet. But because they are so talented, they are here early. And because there's a need on this ball club, they're here maybe earlier than they should be. So they're going to have some growing pains up there. We've seen it with Bogarts. We've seen it with Bradley. We'll probably see the same type of thing with Betts occasionally.
Do you worry that will hurt their development in any way if they're unable to come out of some of these stretches? And I think of Xander Bogaerts, what he's going through right now.
I have worried about Xander, and I even went on record saying that I thought that maybe he should take a stint back in AAA. But I don't think you're going to hurt them. I think they're too good at character guys.
1-0 Chicago. He's getting an attorney immediately. 1-0 White Sox on top of the Red Sox. We head to the 6th inning, and a great pitcher's duel here today. John Lester gave up a first inning run. He's not relinquished one since then and has 10 strikeouts through the first 5 innings. On the other side, Jose Quintana has been perfect through the first 5 innings. Jose Abreu leading it off. And he sends one to right field, and that'll get in for a base hit in front of Mookie Betts. Second hit for Abreu of the day.
Well, we've seen him do this a couple times in this series because he's so big and strong and powerful. You have to respect that in the outfield, so the outfielders have to play deep. And then when he gets a little jam shot, there's a lot of hits out there because everyone is deeper. There's no chance Mookie Betts can come in and make a play on that ball.
So lead runner on here for Chicago. Second time in the game that's happened. First time they scored was back in the first inning. Now Diane Viciedo 0 for 2, struck out twice. Once looking, once swinging. I'm playing late day baseball here at Fenway Park. The home plate area is now encompassed in the shadows. At what point did it become troublesome for you to pick up pitches?
You know, I have a very differing opinion than most people about the shadows. I think it affects the play a little bit, but not to the degree that everyone talks about it. Just don't think it makes that much of a difference. And no one's ever been able to show me that nobody hits when there's shadows.
Bradley makes the catch for the first out of the inning.
It's a great topic of conversation on TV all the time. And obviously this picture that we're showing you right now, the shadows look way worse. I feel like I'm in a dark closet somewhere. But on the field, I just don't think you notice the difference between the ball coming through the light and into the shadow. I'm not saying it doesn't affect it. It does a little bit, but not to the degree that we tend to say, oh my gosh, it's in the shadows now. They're not going to be able to hit. Guess what? They haven't been in the shadows all day long and no one's hitting. Well, we have like 18 strikeouts between the two pitchers today. This is dominating pitching performances. It won't have anything to do with the shadows.
1 out, 1 on. Alexei Ramirez. We'll take a ball outside.
I will also say that, and I'm not afraid to say that many people would disagree with me on that. I just didn't think it was that big a deal. I never came back to the bench saying I didn't hit the ball because there was a shadow on the field.
Well, sometimes you'll hear that different hitters feel that they don't see the rotation the same when it kind of changes colors on the way in, especially with a light backdrop. That's what I've heard in the past.
Yeah, and
you're not buying into that, I realize, but
that's actually a legitimate point.
Okay.
Seeing the rotation on the ball, but I think seeing rotation on the ball is really hard to do no matter what.
So you never saw the rotation,
I did
is
not.
what you're telling me.
Nope. And I had 20/10 vision when I played.
This is line foul back into the grandstand. Hot shot. Let's take a look at John Lester's key matchup. Alexei Ramirez, lifetime .233 hitter against Lester with 7 strikeouts. This key matchup has been brought to you by People's United Bank, where John Lester does his banking. 1 on, 1 out. Ramirez down on the count, 1-2.
I used to see a white blur go by me at about 93.
This is up the middle and into center field, and Ramirez has his second hit of the day. 2 on and 1 away for the White Sox here in the 6th inning. Foxwoods Resort Casino is the official resort casino and proud partner of the Boston Red Sox. 2 on, 1 down, and Paul Konerko coming up here. But first, David Ross going to make a visit to the mound. John Lester taking a little stroll in behind the hill.
This is a great visit to the mound, I think, by Rossi right here. Just to doesn't really have to settle Lester down. I think he just has to get him refocused on exactly what they're trying to do. A couple base hits in this inning. Try to get himself zeroed in on the pitches that he wants to throw and make sure that he's committed to them. I believe that David Ross will make an excellent manager someday if he wants to go that route. You know, people say, he's hitting a .179. You know, yeah, he's not a great hitter. He's never been a great hitter. He's been a tremendous backup catcher his entire career. Very smart baseball player.
And serving as a mentor now for Christian Vasquez in the coming months here to end the season for the Red Sox. Vasquez, of course, making his major league debut here last night.
Oh, he's going to be a good one. If he does nothing with the bat, he's just an outstanding defender. It's nice when you have a guy that can change the way the game is played when he doesn't have a bat in his hands. Pudge Rodriguez used to do that.
Are you surprised by the departure of A.J. Pierzynski?
Not at all. I think it just wasn't a good fit for this ball club. I don't think he fit in personality-wise, and I think his skills had eroded. I mean, he's not a young guy. It's not like he was 30 years old and came in here. He's 38. You know, and playing that position, his skills started to go away, and he was having a terrible season. So the combination of all those things and the fact that Vasquez was kind of pushing the matter with what he was doing and the type of player that he is, it was an easy decision to make.
The White Sox with Jose Abreu at second base, Alexei Ramirez at first, 1 out. Konerko gets a piece of it, stays alive, still 0-2.
This will be a great time for Lester to go to the outer half of the plate, either a backdoor breaking ball or that four-seamer. He's got Konerko thinking of that ball in. He's been getting out there and trying to pull the ball down the line. This is where you mess with him and go to the other side of the plate.
Snap throw to first and taken off for third is Abreu. The throw will be late. An aggressive play there by Abreu to take third base. Snap throw to first. He just takes off for third.
Oh, look at the pitch, too. I mean, this was so close. Napoli just kind of airmailed that. They probably would have had him at third with a good throw. Brock Holt had to climb the ladder just to hang on to the thing. That pitch was so close to being strike three. It may have been called a strike if Rossi didn't have to pop up and throw down to first base. He may have blocked the view of the umpire, and they were doing exactly what we talked about, going to the outer half with that four-seam fastball.
First and third, 1 down now, and Konerko with a count of 1-2. Runner goes at first, a swing and a miss. Konerko strikes out, but Ramirez will steal second base and into scoring position with now 2 down. It's 11 strikeouts now for Lester.
Great jump by Ramirez. No chance of throwing him out with the breaking ball in the dirt. Just eat that one.
So second and third, 2 down. Moises Sierra is 1 for 2 today. Sierra singling and stealing a base of his own back in the second inning and then striking out in the fourth. And a swing and a miss. There it is again. The cutter.
Watch Sierra try to get out and pull it. Can't get there in time. He's the one to me that's had the most lost look on his face after he swings and misses against Lester today. Oh.
Close pitch, but just outside. Lester clearly wanted it. Pitching line brought to you by Ace Ticket. 5 2/3, 7 hits, a run. Hasn't walked anybody in 11 Ks. His season high and career high 15. That was against Oakland.
Pitchers get upset when they have pinpoint control and then don't get the pitch that's on the black.
Napoli headed over, makes the catch, almost overran it. Able to reach back and make the grab, and out of the jam is Lester. A little help from his friends, like Napoli. One to nothing White Sox. These aerial views of Boston and Fenway Park are brought to you by Hood, the official dairy of the Boston Red Sox. To follow the Hood Blimp and to enter to win prizes this summer, visit the Hood Facebook page or follow @HoodBlimp on Twitter. Leading it off for the Red Sox here in the home half of the 6th inning is Stephen Drew. Red Sox still looking for their first base runner of the day. Perfect through the first 5 is Jose Quintana.
Starting to get to the point where you should start to figure out what he's trying to do to you and then come up with a game plan to defend that. Nice play. What are they? Is it okay to say that that's a ball girl down there, a ball attendant? What are we calling those helpers?
I think ball attendant would probably be fine. It was a good catch.
Wearing the Ted Kluszewski sleeves too, huh? Look at that, showing off the guns. Short sleeves right there, getting a little bit of a tan, making a great play. Got it all going.
In tight to Stephen Drew, and it's 3-1. Drew now, then Ross and Bradley Jr. here in the 6th inning. In there for a strike as Drew is ready to go to first base. Gets the bad news from Marvin Hudson.
Yeah. I've noticed in this entire series that low strike has been called. Low strike.
Now Drew fouls it and stays alive as it's in and out of the glove of Tyler Flowers. Quintana receiving a terrific play in center field from Adam Eaton back in the 4th inning. As we look back over the course of this game here into the 6th, what has been close for the Red Sox, and that's about as close as it has come. A David Ortiz fly out to deep right center. And there is ball 4. Drew will head down to first base. First runner of the day for Boston.
Now there goes the perfect game.
H.B. Hood knows that nothing is crueler than an innocent child being struck by cancer. We thank Hood for their contributions to the Red Sox Foundation, which gives generously to the Jimmy Fund. We thank Hood for helping us stand up to cancer. Let's strike it out now.
Stephen Drew broke up the no-hitter by Jake Arrieta earlier in this homestand. Late. Was it the 8th inning when he got a base hit, I guess? And now here, breaks up a perfect game with a walk in the 6th. Red Sox are going to need more.
Kind of a mislocation, doesn't get a call as a result. Catcher had to reach back across.
I think David Ross is going to look to ambush right here. I think he's going to sit dead red and break out his home run swing. Fastball in.
Takes it down and in and is ahead 2-0.
Good discipline to not swing at a bad fastball.
I was going out here to talk to Quintana, having to work from the stretch for the first time in the game. Takes into the 6th inning.
Brian Butterfield down there at third base. Third base coach flashing a ton of signs, but I wouldn't think anything would be on right here. Nothing like a hit and run or anything.
In there for a strike, 2-1. At the bottom of the zone again.
Good look at Butterfield there. What did that mean?
I think nothing is on.
I think that's a good call.
It is an action count, however, 2-1.
Swing hard in case you hit it.
He takes it instead, down and in, 3-1.
Here's an action count for you if you're a hitter. You'd love to be sitting in this position.
Time for some hitter action.
Yeah. Quintana not afraid to throw his fastball, that's for sure. He can run it up there pretty good on you, but this is just like the 2-0 count. If you're guessing dead red, this is the time to do it.
Oh, down the line, but foul. He got the changeup instead and fouled it off. Just out ahead.
Pretty much what Quintana's trying to do right there. You're looking for the fastball. You get the changeup. That's going to get you out on your front foot just a little bit. If you make contact many times, you'll hook it foul just like that. You'd like to think that you could put your runners in motion here with the full count, but I still don't think that John Farrell's going to be that aggressive here with these two hitters, with the hitter and the runner. Good
close pitch, and down to first base goes Ross. Back-to-back walks given up by Quintana. Don Cooper thought it was a strike as he looks in the direction of Marvin Hudson.
We saw the low strike on Drew. We saw the low strike on Ross. And Hudson decided that this one was just too low.
Back-to-back walks after the Red Sox did not have a base runner through the first 5. Still don't have a hit. And here's Jackie Bradley Jr. coming up, and Don Cooper still talking to himself. Bradley Jr. flied out to left field in the 3rd inning, 0 for 1.
JBJ hitting .283 with runners in scoring position, one of the best on the team.
And he is squaring here, but pulls it back and takes pitch outside. Having the attention of both Garcia at third, Abreu at first, both charging in.
Jackie's got to try to bunt this ball to the third base side. Make the third baseman come in and field it. Abreu at first has very little responsibility. He doesn't have to hold Ross on, so he can get a pretty good jump coming down that line.
Bradley pulls it back again, and now it's 2-0. One sacrifice bunt on the year for Jackie Bradley Jr.
This is the scariest position a third baseman will ever be in a bunt situation, because he has lots of responsibilities down there. He's got to cover the bag if he doesn't field the bunt. He has to make the determination on whether or not he should field the bunt, and then he's got to get it out somewhere.
It's a lot to think about for your third baseman.
And you can see how Garcia's turned towards the field of play, making sure that there's not a possible stolen base attempt here. You got to make sure he knows where Bradley's going to bunt the ball. He assumes that it's going to be bunted towards him. If Quintana can get it, he'll let him. If there can be a play at third, he's got to be back there.
JBJ offering at that pitch and not getting it, punching at it. 2-1.
A little bit of a shaky attempt right there, almost a half swing at that. And it looked to me like he was trying to take it with him to the right side of the infield. That scares me.
Strike call, throw to second, and back to the bag is Drew, and all of a sudden now it's 2-2.
I'm not sure how often in his minor league career JBJ has been asked to bunt, but is fundamentally not very sound in this at bat, trying to bunt the ball. I'm assuming they'll let him swing away now.
A fake off the backside for Quintana. Drew at second, Ross at first, nobody out here in the bottom of the sixth inning. Bradley swings away and grounds it foul over by the Sox dugout.
Red Sox have played in 35 one-run games and find themselves in another one right now.
Here we go again. Full count now. This big Fenway crowd ready to explode here. The Red Sox have been able to do nothing today with Quintana. They don't have a hit against him, but 2 walks, have runners at first and second.
Both times on full counts before, he went with a fastball down in the strike zone.
Into the ground into right field for a base hit. Stephen Drew being waved around. He will score the game-tying run. First hit of the ball game brings in the first Red Sox run of the day, and it's Jackie Bradley Jr. getting it done.
Brian Butterfield, the third base coach down there, making the decision to send Drew because this ball wasn't very sharply hit, kind of a dribbler into right field. The grass is going to slow it down. Sierra now with a great arm out there in right field, generally with nobody out. A lot of times a third base coach won't take the chance, but you can see how slowly this ball gets out into the outfield. With Stephen Drew running in his speed, he says, let's score here. It's easy.
The local Dunkin' Donuts franchisees are proud to give back to the communities in which they live and work. Thousands of kids have had the chance to catch a free Sox game thanks to Dunkin' Donuts. Today, we welcome the Pittsfield Youth Workshop to historic Fenway Park. Dunkin' Donuts committed to the community.
Bradley continues to be one of the best hitters on this Red Sox team when you do have some guys in scoring position. Just a .217 hitter overall, but you put some ducks out there, he drives them in.
The 2 walks for Quintana to begin the inning. Gives up his first hit of the ball game. It comes here in the 6th inning, and now we are tied 1-1.
Lost the perfect game, the no-hitter, and the lead in 3 batters.
Brock Holt 0 for 2 today. He's lined out to left, struck out swinging. Trying to get the defense set here in the infield. Signs coming from Garcia, the third baseman.
They're still worried about Brock Holt dropping down a bunt here. Same situation with guys on first and second. Still nobody out. We've seen Holt hit left-handed pitching very well. And I think right now John Farrell has more confidence in Brock Holt at the plate than he does of any one of his hitters. I think he's going to be hitting away. Showing some bunt.
Send it down to Gary.
Guys, we know Brock Holt has quickly made a home here in Boston, but he gets the true homecoming tomorrow. The Texas native playing in Houston for the 3rd time as a pro in between his stints with the Pirates and Boston, but he's never played at Ranger Stadium, so his family is going to have to drive 4.5 hours instead of just the 1-hour drive it would take to get to Arlington. Nevertheless, his parents, they're going to drive, his wife flying down, all of his childhood friends, they're going to be there. I'll tell you what, though, guys, he comes through right here. Mayor Marty Walsh might have to give him the keys to the city of Boston.
First and second with nobody out now. He is squaring, and he pulls it back to take a strike. Again, right at the bottom of the zone.
See what they have up their sleeve here right now. I don't know. I'm a little surprised that he's bunting just because of how well he's performed, especially against left-handers.
And he pulls it back, 2-1. Let's have one sacrifice bunt this year. Swinging away this time. 92-mile-an-hour fastball, and he fouled it back.
Wow. That would have been fun to see some solid contact right there with the White Sox infield all thinking bunt. Now they'll back into their normal double play depth defensively.
David Ross at second, Jackie Bradley Jr. at first base. Still nobody out. Red Sox have tied the game here in the bottom of the 6th inning. It's been a taxing inning already for Quintana, who's sailing through the first 5 innings. Holt hits it on the ground to first base. Abreu touches first, fires to second. Is going to be a tag play, and it's late. So they do get the out at first base. And it is second and third now with 1 down.
Well, you could almost question as to whether or not Abreu had control of the ball when he actually touched first base. I guess he's had a little bit of a bobble before. Then he got a hold of it, touched the bag. But by that time, too late to get JBJ down there at second. And Jackie's got to be smart enough to stay on the bag there, knowing that it's not a force play, that you have to be tagged.
Second and third now. So if nothing else, it kind of acts like a sacrifice bunt in a way. It gets the runners to second and third.
Yep.
With one out, and now you got Pedroia, who has struck out swinging, flied out to left. Strike one.
I would submit to you that the Stephen Drew walk, really good at bat. David Ross, another excellent at bat, walk on a full count. JBJ base hit to drive in a run. Those three at bats, maybe the three best at bats we've seen in this game from the Red Sox, all in the shadows.
Pedroia, I think, went around and did. The home plate umpire is not even going to check. Pedroia wants him to, but it's 0-2.
Yeah, I think that's a swing there. I don't think there's anything questionable about that call. Definitely swung. Petey's going to have to battle now.
Chops it softly down the third baseline, foul.
Here's what got things going in this sixth inning. Good at bat by Drew. Full count walk. Ross followed it up with a full count walk. JBJ, after being asked to bunt and not being able to get the job done, decides to just bang one out there in the right field, drive in a run.
Ties the game one aside. Red Sox looking for more, trying to take the lead against Jose Quintana, who has been terrific until this sixth inning. The 0-2 pitch. On the ground, softly towards third. Garcia looks the runner back and throws out Pedroia for the second out of the inning, and he cannot advance the runners. 2 down. Well, do you know the signs of a stroke? The Stroke Center at Beth Israel Deaconess, the official hospital of the Boston Red Sox, reminds you that fast treatment can save lives. Learn the symptoms at bidmc.org/stroke symptoms. David Ortiz 0 for 2 in the game. He was flied out twice to center field in the first, and then a great catch by Adam Eaton in the triangle in the fourth. Time called as Ortiz gets time, but Quintana was last to know and stumbles as he stops his delivery at the last second.
Cooper's beside himself this inning.
Not happy with Marvin Hudson. The non-strike calls, and now this. Ortiz with a half-hearted swing kind of changed his mind in the middle.
We've seen a lot of those, not just out of Ortiz, by good hitters going to the plate with these two pitchers they're facing today. Some ugly swings because of the outstanding stuff.
Long wait for Lester, but the game has now been tied 1-1, and he'd love to grab a lead here. Did he go? They'll check. No, he did not, says Doug Eddings.
Now there's a pretty liberal call right there. Let's check this out again.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm sure David's been called that a strike many times.
Eddings was hearing it from the White Sox dugout after he said he did not offer. Away for ball 2. Montana came into this inning perfect through 5, having thrown 61 pitches through 5 innings. He has now thrown 93 as he works here with 2 outs in the 6th inning and trying to keep this game tied. High for ball 3.
We talked about in the open of the show how the kids can interject some life into this team. The Brock Holtz and the Mookie Betts and guys like that, and even JBJ, Xander when he gets in there. But you need good contributions out of guys like David Ortiz to kind of break games open for you.
Big Poppy drives it towards the gap in left center field, and this is going to be up off the wall. Ross scored. Bradley coming in to second. Ortiz stands with a 2-run double, and the Red Sox have a 3-1 lead.
Just like that. This is a swing from Ortiz that I love so much. Opposite field off the wall, and with all the balls that he's hit into the shift, he does this so well. I guess I'm dumbfounded a little bit as to why he hasn't done it more often. The shift this season has taken hit after hit after hit away from him. Not that time. You can't play hanging off the wall.
Ortiz at second base with 2 down, and Napoli now with a healthy hack for strike 1. You said it. Big guys have to step up, and David Ortiz just did. Driving in David Ross and Jackie Bradley Jr.
And he did last night too. He along with Gomes and Pedroia and the big double Ortiz. The kids got it going. The veterans brought him home. Well, I mean, I love it when Ortiz, turns on one and hits it into the right field seats. And that's a home run and it's pretty and all that, but I don't know if there's a prettier swing than watching a guy like him go oppo off of the left field wall. From the blimp.
RBIs 57 and 58 for David Ortiz on the year. Now Napoli hits it on the ground. Garcia at third gathers himself and throws across for the out that ends the inning. The Red Sox put a 3 spot on the board in the 6th, have a 3-1 lead.
7. Today is the kickoff of the Subaru of New England Ooh Ooh It's Love contest. Here's Ernie Bach Jr. to explain.
It's the Ooh Ooh It's Love song/commercial contest. You can go to SubaruofNewEngland.com/love and submit your version of the Ooh Ooh It's Love commercial. And we will look at them, and we have a team of scientists that are going to pick the right one up until August 11th. SubaruofNewEngland.com/love. Submit your version of the Ooh Ooh It's Love Subaru commercial. We may pick you. If we pick you, you get $1,000, $1,000, and we play it all over New England, all 6 states for a month and a half.
Plenty of perks, and this is just anywhere from if you're an amateur band, if you got a full-fledged band coming out of the garage, if you mix your tape on the iPad, on the iMac.
Nice, it'll be cool.
6 months, or excuse me, all 6 states.
All 6 states.
They get paid.
They get paid.
And they get a ton of exposure.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Go to SubaruofNewEngland.com/love and enter to win.
What's not to love about that? Ernie Bach Jr., much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, Gary, well, Tyler Flowers flying out to center field to Jackie Bradley Jr. for the first out of the 7th inning. John Lester, after that long wait, doesn't mind. He's got a lead on top 3-1 now. And today, John individually looking to get into double figures in wins as he comes in at 9-7. One out here in the 7th inning for Leori Garcia.
And you get deeper into this ball game now. We love this to see the strikeouts, 11 of them on the day. But getting those one-pitch outs are great for him. Might think a little bit more of pitching to contact. Try to get some ground balls, some fly balls, and conserve the pitches. Up to 97 now.
On the ground outside of third. Now this Sunday, catch an all-new episode of Nesson Clubhouse where kids run the show. They visit the Museum of Science to find out what it means to keep your eye on the ball. Learn how to sell peanuts at Fenway. Plus, Gary and David Ortiz's son D'Angelo face off in round 6 of Batter Up. Don't miss Nesson Clubhouse live and commercial-free Sunday at 12:30. There's a bunt bid by Garcia. Foul tipped for strike 2. For 2 from the number 9 spot. He's grounded out to third and struck out looking. Lester about to serve up his 100th pitch of his outing. And a swing and a miss. There's strikeout number 12 for John Lester. 2 down.
It's just nasty. He has every one of his pitches working today. That's the big breaking ball.
They have to go to the other side of the pole now.
Yeah. They're going to have to get more placards.
There is a term that I was not.
Well, they're going to. Maybe they have to put the placard on the stanchion.
2 down and a strike to Adam Eaton. He's had 2 hits today off Lester. He and Jose Abreu both with 2-hit afternoons so far into the early evening. Juan Nieves on the phone. There's been no action to this point, but some stirring going on out there right now.
Well, the city of Chicago got things done in the final man voting for the All-Star game. Congratulations to Anthony Rizzo of the Cubs, who wins the vote for the National League, and Chris Sale for the White Sox, who's now in the All-Star game. That takes a little pressure off of John Farrell, and you can stop sending your hate mail from the city of Chicago. Now the only hate mail that he's getting is from all those people out in Anaheim that thought Garrett Richards should have been on the All-Star team, and unless there's an injury between now and then.
You can't make everybody happy.
Oh, there's always going to be someone that you think's supposed to be on there that isn't. It's just kind of the nature of the game.
1-2 is outside, and it's 2-2.
Of course, Red Sox fans certainly happy with the announcement yesterday that Koji Uehara making the ball club.
Of course, his jersey handed to him today before the ball game. 2-2 pitch.
Well deserved.
To short. Surrounding it is Drew. Off balance throw is in time. Nice play. A 1-2-3 seventh for Lester. A 3-1 Red Sox lead. Huge inventory and tons of free parking make WB Mason's What a Bargain Furniture Superstore a 5-tool player that will bust any furniture budget. Drive on down to visit whatabargain.com. Who but WB Mason? 3-1 Red Sox have the lead over the White Sox as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning. It's time now for the AT&T fan photo of the game. Tweet your photo to hashtag Nesson fan photo for a chance to be shown in our broadcast. Brought to you by AT&T. Today, Mike sends us a milestone moment, their first time at Fenway Park. Well, with Jose Quintana back on the mound here for the 7th inning at 99 pitches. Daniel Webb is up in the pen for the White Sox. Quintana had a perfect game into the 6th inning, but he gave up back-to-back walks to Drew. RBI single for Bradley Jr., a 2-run double for David Ortiz, and now a fly ball to left field off the bat of Johnny Gomes. Viciedo puts it away for the first out of the bottom of the 7th. Well, don't miss Red Sox Game Day Live presented by DCU Digital Federal Credit Union tomorrow at 7:30. Adam Pellerin and Tim Wakefield will have updates from the Red Sox clubhouse, and will celebrate 100 years since Babe Ruth's debut. DCU Digital Federal Credit Union. What can DCU save you? One out in the 7th inning, and it brings up Mookie Betts. Struck out in the 2nd, grounded out to second base in the 5th.
It was kind of risky for Robin Ventura to send Quintana back out here for this inning, and I think that's what Johnny Gomes was thinking too. This guy's going to try to get ahead with me with a fastball, and I'm going to try to jump the yard on him. He just missed it. Ventura continuing to try to have his pitching staff gain confidence. Took Sale out of the game after 107 pitches last night to try to see if he could find someone in his bullpen that can get the job done. They have been shaky out there.
Well, that's my next question. I mean, is it because he's a little leery of what's out in his bullpen right now, and the lack perhaps of a little of that confidence?
No question about it.
We saw what happened last night.
I know.
It happened fast.
And the Chicago media asked him about it, but he said, look, those are the guys that have those jobs. They were asking him, well, who are you going to put in those situations? The same guys. That's their job.
That's what we've got.
Yeah, that's who we have down there. I think one of the funnier lines I ever heard, I believe, was when Bob Brenly was managing, and they got into a late game situation. He was managing Arizona, and his pitching coach asked who he wanted him to get up in the late situation. And he said, get me Mo Rivera.
we don't have
He's like, he doesn't pitch for us.
It's time for a Toyota game break, and Tom Karen, TC. All right, Tom, thanks very much. 2 down here in the bottom of the 7th inning with the Red Sox on top 3-1. And Stephen Drew batting.
West Coasters would tell you that there's not much better than a day game in the Bay Area between Giants and the A's.
Love that Giants ballpark.
Especially
tremendous
in San Francisco. Such a pretty place in the daytime, and then it drops 60 degrees if it's a night game.
Cool by night. Drew has struck out and walked today. We'll let that pass. 1-2.
Kind of a rare start here against the left-hander for Stephen Drew. He's been playing pretty much exclusively against right-handers. Today he gets the start.
Down the line and right, but it'll curl foul. Alltown, New England's premier convenience retailer, is committed to supporting the communities they serve. For every home run the Red Sox hit the rest of the season, Alltown will donate $500 to Boston Children's Hospital. Visit alltown.com for an Alltown location near you. So everybody's all right down there?
They're clapping.
Strike 3 call. Drew knew it and takes with him the 7th strikeout for Quintana. We go to the 8th. 3-1 Boston. Again today for the White Sox, 2 for 3. John Lester parts this game after 7 innings, and Lester with 12 strikeouts today. David Ortiz with a big 2-run double as we play on to the 8th inning with the Red Sox on top 3-1. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by your New England Ford dealers. And again, John Lester going the first 7 innings and striking out 12 along the way. Hands the baseball off to Shinichi Tozawa. His 42nd appearance of the year, 1-1 with a 2.70 earned run average, 37 strikeouts to 8 walks, and opponents hitting at 257 against Tozawa. Well, your thoughts on John Lester today?
Oh, just outstanding. As good as I've seen him all year, and he just keeps getting better and better. His last start headed into that All-Star break. You gotta think that there's going to be some conversations in the 3 days off. Of course, won't be off time for him. He'll be at the game. I really think But the Red Sox will make it priority one to re-sign him.
Gordon Beckham leading it off here in the 8th inning. Fly ball down the right field line, headed out of play. For every Red Sox game that goes into extra innings or the Sox get a save, CVS Pharmacy will make a donation to Boston Children's Hospital towards a $25,000 donation once again this season. CVS Pharmacy is the official pharmacy of the Boston Red Sox. Gordon Beckham leading it off here in the top half of the 8th inning. He struck out 3 times against John Lester. So glad to have somebody else out there on the hill as he takes the ball high.
So that makes him 13 for his last 97.
That's not good.
98. Not good, no. Tough stretch for the Georgia guy.
In the air to right, playable for Betts, the Sunfield. And he's there to make the catch for the first out of the 8th. The sunglasses on, 1 down.
Now, the thing with Lester today is everything worked. I mean, he didn't miss location. His stuff was nasty. Cutter was on. Really nice breaking ball curve. Good four-seamer to the other side of the plate. You want to hit against that? Because I don't.
No, I'm not qualified to do so.
Yeah, I don't think too many guys were today.
1 down for Jose Abreu. There's 2 hits today and an RBI. The only RBI today for the White Sox.
A bunch of guys out there actually wearing a uniform weren't really qualified to hit Lester today.
Abreu, one of the guys who did 2 hits, a double and a single. Of the 7 hits White Sox have today. Interesting to see what the rotation looks like in the second half, the way they line it up. Last year, you may remember, John Lester was given extra time in the second half, but at the time he was struggling towards the All-Star break. The difference is heading into this All-Star break, and may pitch in the All-Star game as well. He's not struggling at all and showing no signs of being tired at all.
Yeah, Lackey would probably be the guy that you'd like to maybe see get a little bit of extra time. You know, Lackey's been kind of a power pitcher all season long. That builds up the wear and tear. Maybe an extra day or 2 would be good for him.
David Ross getting his mask jarred there on that foul tip. Of course, the concussions last year, you think of it every time it happens to him again. The 0-2 pitch. And a swing and a miss. Ross will apply the tag on Abreu for the second out of the 8th inning. That's 13 strikeouts now in the game for the Red Sox. First for Tazawa.
Great job here by Rossi, too. You know that forkball split fingers coming. You got to get down there, make sure your glove gets in the 5-hole there. There's the special mask, I believe, that Rossi's wearing now, where I know he was trying one. That doesn't look like the one that I saw with little shock absorbers on it. He doesn't. That's not the one. That's the old school mask, but it's made out of a very light material. They're not as heavy as they used to be.
When he endured the concussions last year, there were 2 of them.
Yep.
He was wearing the hockey style mask.
Yeah, he went away from that.
Went away from that after it. He just got hit again.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem to be affecting him at all. The masks that way, they're kind of designed to dissipate it.
Yeah. Make it a glancing blow.
Yeah, even if you get hit solidly, the blow kind of dissipates out across the mask, and it doesn't feel like you got hit square on.
That one got both David Ross and Marvin Hudson, the home plate umpire. And a swing and a miss. 0-2, 95 on the fastball from Tazawa.
He has the ability to run that fastball up there, sometimes 96, but he's really consistent 94.
In the dirt, a ball and 2 strikes.
It's been a great formula for the Red Sox when they have a lead to shorten the game down to 7 innings, when you have Tazawa that can come in and shut it down, and then Koji turn off the lights.
Andrew Miller up in the pen for the Red Sox behind Tazawa. Chinichi has 2 outs here so far in the 8th for John Farrell and Juan Nieves. Thought about it, but it's too high. 2-2. Tazawa throwing a scoreless 8th inning, allowing a hit in last night's game against the White Sox. Here he is in the 8th today. That's the first 2 outs in the top of the 8th. A swing and a miss, gets away from David Ross initially, gathers and throws, and plenty of time to get Viciedo. Back-to-back Ks for Tazawa, 1-2-3 inning, a 3-1 Red Sox lead. Brought to you by the new Scion TC, your New England Ford dealers, and by Southwest Airlines. These aerial views of Boston and Fenway Park are brought to you by HB Hood, the official dairy of the Boston Red Sox. To follow the Hood Blimp and to enter to win prizes this summer, visit the Hood Facebook page or follow @Hood Blimp on Twitter. 3-1. Red Sox have the lead over the White Sox. Wrapping up Sweet Caroline here at Fenway Park. Daniel Webb checking in for the White Sox. His 29th appearance of the year. 4-2. 3.38 ERA. Opponent's hitting at .239. A lot of walks. Got 32 strikeouts and 26 walks. And he takes over for Quintana, who leaves after 7 innings. And is on the hook. Giving up 3 runs, only 2 hits, but 2 big walks in the 6th inning, both turned into runs. Struck out 7 along the way.
You know, and it wasn't like he just fell apart in that inning, too. There was some really intelligent at-bats by Red Sox hitters there. Stephen Drew and this guy right here, Rossi, that worked counts full.
Ross popping out to second base in the 3rd. He walked and was part of that 3-run 6th inning, scoring in the 6th. Jackie Bradley Jr. drove in a run and scored in that 6th inning. Stay tuned tonight following WB Mason's Extra Innings for Red Sox Final, presented by Insurance. TC and Tim Wakefield will have viewer tweets. Use hashtag Sox Final to get your tweet on the air, plus a complete preview of the upcoming series in Houston.
Boy, you know Tim Wakefield's going to have a lot of fun in the post-game show today, getting to talk about the pitching performances from both of the guys that he saw today.
Well, David Ross strikes out for the first out here at the bottom of the 8th. Send it down to Gary.
Guys, we asked you earlier as part of our Scion TC poll, which Jackie Bradley Jr. play from this homestand has been the most impressive. We got some results here for you. Not surprisingly, last night's diving catch, 65% of that vote. The catch at the wall on Sunday, only 9%, and the gun out of Manny Machado in 2nd place. But they're all really winners if you think about it.
Yeah, they're all good.
I bet if you asked him, you know which one he'd say?
Throw to home?
Yeah.
Yeah. Guys don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
He did.
Here's the catch we were talking about. This is the one that's leading Superman. You can see how he ran as fast as he could and got his glove out there just at the right time.
Wow. Leori Garcia made the catch and get out of the way all at the same time. 2 down. That was a hot shot.
He didn't catch that ball.
It caught him.
Ball caught him. Look out.
Wow. Watch your face.
Whew.
I am not sure I've seen a ball hit that hard to a third baseman like that. That was unbelievable.
And from a left-hander, it's always more difficult as a third baseman to see the ball off the bat from a left-handed hitter. Jeez.
Right in your grill.
He caught that for dear life.
He doesn't catch that. You're talking about dental work.
Worse.
2 down here in the 8th. Brock Holt with a count of 1-0.
Hey, don't look at me funny when you say dental work. I have all my teeth.
Well, I'm a dentist part-time.
I noticed. Yeah. You got your pliers out. Come over here and stick stuff in my face.
I play a dentist on television sometimes.
I noticed. They're all good.
1-1 pitch. Your teeth are not going to fall out during the game, right?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not yet.
Prepared for a lot of things, but that was a new one.
You brought your tools with you, though. You were ready to go to work.
2-1 to Brock Holt. To third, and Garcia throws out Holt at first base. We head to the 9th. It's Koji time at Fenway. Mason's wide selection of Green Mountain Coffee K-Cup packs will keep you running and guarantees to satisfy any fan base. Order by 11:30 a.m. and get free same-day delivery. Who but WB Mason? Well, it is 3-1. Red Sox have the lead, and it is indeed Koji time as Koji Uehara comes into the game for Boston.
And you got to think that at some point in this ninth inning, he's going to have to face Adam Dunn. Start off with Ramirez and then Konerko. You got to figure Adam Dunn's going to grab a bat somewhere.
Alexei Ramirez leading it off here for Chicago. He's had a 2-hit day. Double and a single after popping out back in the first inning.
There he is. Was batting helmet.
Yep.
The self-proclaimed small-town redneck hick.
Really?
That's how he describes himself. It's a big boy right there.
No 1-2 Ramirez. Broken bat, ground to right side. Uehara's got to get there, and he does just get there. Ramirez wants it challenged immediately. Pointing back towards his dugout.
You don't see Mark Salas saying that he thinks he should challenge it. Koji got a late break. Good toss. I think he nudged him maybe. I think here comes Robin. He's going to do the stroll and they'll figure it out. Kind of a funny little stutter step, but I think that's so close that they won't be able to overturn it. What do you think?
I think he beat it.
Ooh, he might have beat it.
I think he beat it.
Koji kind of got caught between strides there and did a little stutter step at the end. I think you're right. That last view made it look like he was safe.
Is that close?
One guy saying out, the other guy saying safe. See that little stutter step? He thought that with his left foot he might have just strided out and touched the bag with his left foot. They took an extra step in there.
Wow.
See that? That angle makes him look out.
And is there enough there to overturn the call on the field? And the call on the field is out.
I think that camera angle that we saw from inside the field, looking from the field side to first base, made him look more safe. This one, that angle, he looks safe to me. The other one, he looks out.
They've got all of them.
We're going to show you every angle.
They've got them all too. In New York right now.
Yeah, to me that's too close to change it.
Wow, that could be a tie.
How many people at home right now are saying tie goes to the runner?
Right.
That was like a little league rule, right?
Yeah, is that not a real rule, right?
I don't think so. Tie never goes to the runner. It goes to what the umpire said.
Right.
Until replay.
Tie goes to the umpire's decision. Yeah, until replay came around. And now we don't know what a tie means. We're about to find out. He is safe.
Oh, man, they overturned it.
They overturned it. That is huge. A tying run will be coming to the plate now with nobody out.
This is the one where he just... Oh.
So overturned. Alexei Ramirez is safe. It's a base hit. Third hit of the day for Ramirez. Lead runner on for Chicago. They got Paul Konerko coming up. Konerko today 0 for 3. He has struck out twice and grounded out. Uehara missing away for ball one. White Sox getting their run in the first. Red Sox scoring 3 times in the 6th. 2-0.
Here's the play again. You wonder if maybe Napoli just stayed at home and let Petey field that ball and just throw it on to first base. It would have been an easier play for everybody.
Because no doubt Koji was kind of late in getting over there from the mound. Had to hustle.
Of course, Napoli doesn't know that when he's going to field the ball that Koji's not going to be there. It's one of the tougher decisions that a first baseman has to make. How far to my right do I go to field the ball?
It's just missed, and it's now 3-0. 2 close pitches, same spot. Uehara is down 3-0. Konerko took it all the way, and he takes strike one, and that was borderline.
Here's the problem when Koji has an inning where he throws balls to the same hitter. He has a hittable fastball, and he's thrown 4 of them now. On a 3-1 pitch, where does he go? If he throws a fastball here, you at the very least think that Konerko's had it timed by now.
Swing and a miss. Goes to the splitter instead. It's a full count.
Good call. Gutsy call. And it's a strike. We all know Koji likes to throw that splitter out of the strike zone to get you to chase it. He had to throw that one for a strike.
Strike 3 call. Big strikeout for Uehara. 1 down. Konerko doesn't agree, but he's out number 1 of the 9th.
88-mile-an-hour fastball. We'll watch location. Hey, you might think that's low, but that's been called a strike numerous times today.
Connor Gillespie is going to pinch hit here for Sierra. Gillespie's had a good series. Started games 2 and 3 at third base for the White Sox, and here he is with 1 out in the 9th inning. There's 2 home runs in the series as well. And there's Adam Dunn, another guy that can take you out of the yard as they throw over, and Ramirez back to the bag.
This is another risk by Robin Ventura. Gillespie, as you said, has had a good series, but the potential to bounce into a double play ball, and you leave one of your biggest bullets on the bench in Adam Dunn. Robin's banking on Gillespie either getting a base hit or at the very least not hitting into a double play.
For 1 with 1 strikeout against Uehara. Time call. Ross requesting time. That strikeout, by the way, of Konerko, that is 15 strikeouts for Red Sox pitching today. 12 for Lester, 2 for Tozawa. This is driven to deep right field, down towards the pole, and that ball is gone. A 2-run home run, and the White Sox tie the score at 3. Gillespie with a pinch hit 2-run home run, and the blown save for Koji Uehara.
Gillespie's having a career here. His 3rd home run of the series came in with 1. Second time he's gone around the pesky pole.
2nd career pinch hit home run for him as well. So the White Sox tie it up here.
So now what Robin Ventura does is pull Dunn back in case he needs him in a different situation later in this ball game.
Tyler Flowers bats for himself and takes strike 1. Down the right field line, making its way towards the seats and out of play. Alltown, New England's premier convenience retailer, is committed to supporting the communities they serve. Every home run the Red Sox hit the rest of the season, Alltown will donate $500 to the Boston Children's Hospital. Visit alltown.com for an Alltown location near you. It's the second blown save of the year for Koji Uehara.
And Don, you know, I've not been a fan of replay since its inception. And there's a strikeout to Flowers again. A lot of people are going to point to that Ramirez play at first base where he's called out. It gets overturned. It ends up being a 2-run homer instead of solo shot.
And the call overturned right before the 2-run home run, which ties this game 3-3 with now 2 outs here in the 9th.
I think that the biggest thing on replay that nobody knows is what is inconclusive, because you and I watched that thing 20 times, it seemed like, and couldn't really figure it out.
No. What turned it over?
Yeah, when it's too close to tell, to me that's inconclusive, and you go with the call that was made on the field, and the call that was made on the field was out.
So it furthers your point of not liking instant replay.
Yes,
really.
There's many opportunities where it comes up and I don't like it.
Another check in your column.
Don't like it.
Garcia has grounded out, struck out twice. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th inning, Red Sox do have Pedroia, Ortiz, and Napoli expected to bat in the inning. Anybody gets on, and Johnny Gomes will have a chance. So 2, 3, and 4 schedule, but now Uehara just trying to keep this a tie game. The blown save and a pop-up left side, sending Holt into foul ground. Now back into fair ground to make the catch. It ends the inning, but a 2-run home run for Gillespie. It's tied 3-3 from Fenway. By Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. And we head to the bottom of the 9th inning. The White Sox get a 2-run home run, a pinch hit 2-run home run by Gillespie. Leori Garcia moving to right field from third base and checking out the sun situation out there. And Connor Gillespie, who had the big 2-run home run, takes over at third base. Webb back on the mound as Pedroia takes ball 1. Pedroia today 0 for 3. He has struck out, flied out, and grounded out.
I think until Pedroia gets 2 strikes, he's going to be looking middle in and looking to go off the wall.
Double-barreled action for the White Sox. Ronald Belisario and Eric Surkamp both have pitched in this series. Big swing there, trying to end it right there. 96-mile-an-hour fastball, though, by him.
I think that's what we're talking about. Sometimes in this situation you can get a little bit big, but that's pretty much Pedroia's everyday swing.
Two and two. Dustin without a hit today. Red Sox trying to gain a split in this series. They dropped the first 2 games. Had a walk-off win here last night.
How about another?
Pedroia fouling that 96-mile-an-hour fastball straight back. Tune in tonight at 10 for NESN Sports Today, presented by People's United Bank. Jamison Coyle and L. Duncan recap the series finale here at Fenway, plus highlights from day 2 of Bruins development camp.
Well, if Webb threw a breaking ball to Pedroia right here, he might spin himself into the ground, but I think he's having fun throwing those high fastballs.
To right field, Garcia coming in. Makes the catch. Didn't react right away, but he makes the adjustment, finds the baseball, and that's out number 1 of the bottom of the 9th. That was another fastball from Webb, and here comes Robin Ventura after Webb retires 4 batters in a row and gets the first out here in the 9th inning. With Ortiz coming up, he's going to go to the pen. Game tied 3-3 with 1 out in the 9th. Outdoors, Charlie takes his crew on a fly fishing excursion to Idaho, which is normally a quiet state. But things certainly change as the Mad Fisherman rolls into town. Don't miss this all-new episode Saturday night at 8. Well, Daniel Webb departs as Eric Surkamp comes into the game to face the left-hander David Ortiz. 8th appearance, 4.50 earned run average. David 0 for 1 against Surkamp. And he will take ball one. Ortiz with a 2-run double back in the 6th inning, which at the time gave the Red Sox a 3-1 advantage. It would hold up until the top half of this inning, top of the 9th. Surkamp tossing a scoreless 9th inning here on Tuesday night as Mike Napoli waits on deck. Surkamp, 5 of his 7 appearances have been scoreless. Fooled Ortiz, who's down 1-2.
Surkamp is one of those kind of a long armor. Gives you the impression when he's hitting that he never bends his elbow.
Two and two. Same pitch, a little bit further out. Surkamp called up from AAA Charlotte, June the 26th. On the ground, right side. Abreu will take it himself to the bag for the 2nd out of the 9th inning. Now, tomorrow at 7, don't miss Red Sox first pitch presented by Men's Warehouse. Proudly introducing Joseph Abboud. Adam Pellerin and Tim Wakefield will profile Sox prospect Brian Johnson, plus the latest news and notes from around the majors. That's tomorrow at 7, and it's on NESN. Well, Robin Ventura back out there again as Ronald Belisario will be coming in to a 3-3 game. Here for the White Sox. 38th appearance, 3-5. The 5.04 earned run average. 32 Ks to 8 walks, and opponents hitting at 276. Came into a game earlier in this series and went 2 1/3 innings. Mike Napoli. He'll take ball one. Napoli 0 for 3 today, striking out twice and grounding out his last time up. A little bit low, and it's 2-0 now to Napoli.
Mike Napoli with the uppercut swing might be perfect to try to lift a sinking fastball that Belisario throws.
Popped up foul off to the right, out of play.
The only other Red Sox player in double figures in home runs. Napoli has 10, of course. Ortiz with 19.
Nava has come out on deck for Johnny Gomes. There are 2 outs here in the bottom of the 9th inning in a 3-3 game. Chop towards third. Gillespie plays the hop and throws out Napoli. We're headed for bonus baseball at Fenway Park. Game tied 3-3. Boston Red Sox baseball on NESN is brought to you by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Three to 3 the score as we head into the top half of the 10th. As it took place in the 9th inning, and for the Red Sox, not good as it worked out. His play would be overturned, initially called out. But Ramirez wanted it reviewed, and the White Sox did review it, and he was safe. And then Gillespie, the pinch hit 2-run home run around the pole down the right field line, and a blown save for Koji Uehara. Game tied 3-3. Red Sox don't score in the bottom of the 9th, so here we go to the 10th. Andrew Miller comes in, the 4th Boston pitcher of the day. His 42nd appearance of the year, 2-5 with a 2.34 earned run average. Opponent's hitting at 183 against the tall lefty. Adam Eaton leading it off. Shows bunt and takes ball 1. So Uehara went an inning giving up 2 hits and the 2-run home run, so 2 runs, and didn't walk anybody, struck out 2. Means the Red Sox have 16 strikeouts in the game today.
Red Sox have just 2 hits as well again tonight.
This was the catch by Eaton out in the triangle area to rob David Ortiz. Done it offensively as well. 2 hits today. Didn't go, says Doug Innings, third base umpire.
Offensively for the Red Sox, of course, Ortiz with the big 2-run double. That was in the 6th. Other than that, that's the only hit of anyone in the first 8 spots in the order. JBJ with the other base hit and RBI.
This is chopped back up the middle and by the dive of Pedroia into center field. Leadoff base hit for Adam Eaton. He's got good speed to top the order, and he's got himself a leadoff hit here in the 10th.
Pedroia is always going to be a max effort guy up the middle. You see him diving for this ball anytime he thinks he has a chance. He's going to get dirty. With the way that Eaton runs, I doubt he'd been able to step up and throw the guy out at first base anyway, even if he nabbed that one.
Lead runner on here in the 10th inning, and Gordon Beckham, the batter. There's ball one.
Now they always say that you have to try to play for the win on the road, not the tie. Well, they've got it tied up right now. I can't imagine that they wouldn't have Beckham trying to drop down a bunt.
So far, that's not been the case. 1-1.
He's 0 for 4 today. Came in hitting 13 for his last 95, so he's 13 for his last 99. I'm bunting him.
He's only had one sacrifice bunt on the year. Now he is. So they put it on deeper into the count, and it's 2-1. Throw to first and back to the bag is Eaton. Lead was not terribly large.
He messes around over there. He does some fake jumps. I think he really wants to see the moves of the pitchers. He wants a guy like Miller to throw over there so he can see what he's got.
And Beckham gets it down as Miller fields and throws, and the sacrifice is complete. So Beckham does get it down, his second sacrifice of the year. And Eaton is scoring position with one down.
I just tapped it out in front right there, deadened it nicely. The only play is to go to first. Beckham may have saved himself an 0 for 5 day. Take the 0 for 4 with the sacrifice.
One down, Eaton at second base, and now you got Jose Abreu, the batter here, and they're going to put him on. Yeah, not going to deal with him.
And that was the reluctance, I think, with Robin Ventura early. They might have tried to give Beckham one chance to try to get a base hit, and then they were going to drop a bunt down. And the only reason why I sometimes go against the philosophy of people saying, well, you know, you're just going to walk your next best hitter. Well, he's got a couple other good hitters behind Abreu, and you put another guy on base, so you have a chance to score more runs if you do hit a gapper somewhere. So I always kind of say, go ahead, put my guy on. We'll see what happens after that.
So the intentional walk to Abreu, first and second with one out. They'll take their chances with Diane Viciedo. Well, don't miss WB Extra Innings tonight right after the game. You can't go wrong when you buy right at WB Mason. TC and Tim Wakefield will have highlights and reaction from the Red Sox clubhouse. Plus, you'll hear John Farrell's post-game thoughts. Red Sox have runners at first and second, one out here in the 10th. Viciedo has gone 0 for 4 today and struck out 3 times as he takes the breaking ball for strike one. Not close, and a ball and a strike. 94 on the fastball, but off the mark.
Didn't take long for Andrew Miller's beard to start coming back, did it?
Looks like himself again. Through a scoreless 8th inning on Tuesday night against the White Sox. 1 hit, 2 strikeouts. He's had 6 straight scoreless appearances over 4 2/3 innings. More action for the White Sox. Zach Putnam is up in the pen. Does not appear the White Sox really know who their closer is right now. Off the end of the bat, it spins back to the mound. Miller from his knees will throw to first for the out. Runners move to second and third. That had all kinds of spin back at him, and he makes the grab and throws him out.
Pretty impressive play right there, because I'm not sure that this ball with all that spin on it would have made it out to Pedroia in time for him to be able to make a play on anybody. Could have been looking at a bases loaded situation. Watch Pedroia. Yeah, I don't think he would have been able to make a play. Nice play by Miller.
So now second and third with 2 outs here in the 10th inning, and Alexei Ramirez the batter. The free swinging Ramirez. A 3-hit day today, 3 for 4. A double in the 4th inning, singles in the 6th and 9th innings. Up and away for ball 1. The fastball has not been a pitch that Miller's thrown for a strike much here in the inning. Mike Miller has thrown 16 pitches and only 6 for strikes. That's a strike, not a fastball. It's 1-1.
He has been more consistent this year as far as limiting the walks. That was always a big problem for him. As you said, that's a breaking ball. He's had trouble controlling and commanding the fastball.
Grounded back towards the mound. Miller will field and throw, and he gets himself out of the jam. Had to do it defensively himself. Red Sox have coming up. Gomes, Benson, Drew. Three as we head to the bottom of the 10th inning. These aerial views of Boston and Fenway Park are brought to you by Hood, the official dairy of the Boston Red Sox. To follow the Hood Blimp and to enter to win prizes this summer, visit the Hood Facebook page or follow @Hood Blimp on Twitter. And we head to the last half of the 10th inning at Fenway. A pinch hitter for Johnny Gomes. Daniel Nava pinch hits here against Ronald Belisario, the right-hander. Nava 226, 2 homers and 10 runs batted in. Nava had a big hit last night, drove in the game tying run with a pinch hit double. Has 2 pinch hits this season, both coming in July, as he takes strike 1 from Belisario.
In the opening of the show before today's ball game, we mentioned all the kids and their contributions, and we also talked about Ortiz and Gomes, and Pedroia, and I failed to mention the big pinch hit by Nava in yesterday's game, which was a big one.
White Sox pitching is now retired 10 Red Sox in a row. Last base runner the Red Sox had back in the 6th inning, a double by David Ortiz. Two and one to Nava.
There was a point in time in this season when Nava was hitting about $130, up to 226 now. Not anything he'd write home about, but it certainly is a far cry from where he was before he got sent down.
Yeah, last 26 games, Nava has hit at .325. Take strike two. Belisario, as we saw the other night, can go a few innings as well. A 2 1/3 scoreless against the Red Sox on Tuesday night.
The left-handed hitters that are going to face Belisario have to be thinking, hit the ball to left field. Sinking fastball. He does have a slider that goes with it. He can go down and into the lefties like that. That's a pretty good opposite field swing by Nava. That's kind of how you have to think about this guy. Just missed it.
Nava lays off, takes ball 3, full count. Pinch inning for Johnny Gomes to open up the bottom of the 10th inning. Trying to come in on Nava. And it's ball 4. Lead runner on for the Red Sox in the 10th inning. Good at bat for Nava. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is celebrating 12 years. Join the millions of subscribers. Watch every out-of-market game live and in true HD on over 400 devices. Visit RedSox.com for details. Lead runner on here in the 10th inning for the Red Sox. Here comes Mookie Betts.
Didn't take Red Sox fans long to start chanting the boo when he comes up. Hopefully he doesn't feel like they're booing him.
I always thought the good thing would be is even if they are, you can pretend that they're not.
That's right. It's my name.
He is squaring. He offered and fouled it off. That's today. He struck out, grounded out, and lined out. Such a winning run at first base. Nobody out here in the 10th. Throw over there, kind of slinging it sidearmed, and Nava back to the bag. Betts gets it down. Nicely done. And now Abreu throws to first. The sacrifice is complete. They'll bring the second baseman Beckham that time, and Mookie Betts getting the job done.
Good awareness by a young player. Here you see Beckham charging in at third, making sure that he bunts the ball to the right side. Abreu's the guy with the responsibility to hold Nava on at first base. He can't get as good a jump perfect view from the blimp. Excellent bunt and a nice job by Mookie Betts. I don't know how many major league games I see where guys will bunt the ball to the wrong side of the infield based on the play and the way it's set up.
Well, the runner at second and one down. Ventura out there so far just to chat here. And Stephen Drew coming up. Nobody warming in the pen, so this is strictly a strategic conversation. Stephen Drew, July 31st of last year. Red Sox with a walk-off win thanks to Drew. Chance here for Stephen Drew on July 10th, 2014.
Well,
they're going to put him on.
I think Ventura, that's what he was out there just to talk about what kind of a situation he wanted to be in here, and he's going to set himself up a double play ball.
Mike Karp has come out to pinch hit for David Ross.
I think Ventura went out there and had an entire conversation with everybody out there as far as how they want to go after the next hitter and what type of pitches Belisario should be throwing. I mean, he has the complement. He's got a changeup. He has a good slider. But to me, he's got to throw that sinker time and time again. He wants a ground ball here. He's looking for a double play.
Mike Karp has gone 0 for 2 in 2 pinch hit appearances since being activated from the DL on Monday. And that is the day for David Ross. Ross today had been 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored, but now it is Mike Karp with 1 out here in the 10th inning. And Karp takes strike 1. 95 on the fastball. 1 for 2 in his career against Belisario. Close, but a ball, 1-1. Swing and a miss, and Karp is down 1-2. Mixing it up right now is Belisario.
Daniel Nava's thinking, I've got to get a good enough jump to score on any base hit. He's taken a very aggressive secondary lead after his initial lead out for second base.
2-2. Getting limbered up, ready to make that run. Walk to begin the inning. The sacrifice bunt for Mookie Betts. The intentional walk of Stephen Drew. 2-2 pitch. Karp into left field for a base hit. Nava's going to be waved around. Piciato's throw is going to be late. Red Sox win. They walked off last night. They walk off today. And Karp gets it done. walk-off win for the Red Sox. Nava in the middle of it again, as it turns out. His leadoff walk ends up being the winning run for Boston as they gain a split in this series.
Doesn't get old to watch that celebration. Exactly what we're talking about right there. The left-handed hitters have to take that sinking fastball away from him and hit it to left field. He gets it into that 6-0. Nava has the great secondary lead. You saw him run through your picture right there, and there ain't no stopping him. This was an airmail throw to home on a short left field, and they still didn't have enough to get him. Fun baseball all of a sudden.
Well, for Carp, the base hit. It's only the third hit of the day for the Red Sox, but it gets the job done as they win it 4-3. I don't see that too often.
No. But just some great pitching we saw all night long, and then to end it this way again with the Red Sox storming the field for the second day in a row to go give some high fives and some big smiles on the field.
Send it down to Gary.
Mike, that's a nice little welcome back for you. Just your third pinch hit performance. You guys are getting pretty used to this walk-off thing.
Yeah, we keep fighting, playing hard, and we come out here to win every day. And unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't happen. But days like this is what we live for.
So much talk about the young guys lately, but in the 6th inning, David Ortiz gives you guys the lead. You hit the game-winning run. How do you feel coming back, getting the win?
Feel great. It's my job. Come off the bench late in the game, try to win a ball game, and it's nice to do it every now and then.
You guys aren't in the position you're in without John Lester pitching a gem, another gem. Just how did he do on the mound today?
John Lester did everything he could for us today. That's what we expect out of our ace, and goes out there, attacks his own, strikes out 12. Couldn't ask for more than that.
Mike, good stuff. Congrats on the win. All right, we'll see you.
All right, Gary, thanks very much. Congratulations to Mike Carp and the Red Sox, who win it 4-3 in 10 innings today as we send it to Tom Caron.